Hello, my name is Alex Eddy, and I'm giving this presentation with help from Andrew Kadisi and Asa Candler on the project. This presentation is over the impacts of physiological and socioeconomic parameters on the presence of inflammatory bowel disease. We define inflammatory bowel disease to be Crohn or ulcerative colitis or both. We pulled our data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, also known as NHANES. Sorry if my picture's cutting off the acronym there. NHANES combines data from interviews and physical examinations from about 5,000 people each year in the US. The way we process this data is through the R programming language. We looked at the 2009 to 2010 data acquisition cycle, which had a little over 10,000 participants. As you can imagine, with the survey data, there are many missing data points. We decided to handle this using a technique called multiple imputation with chained equations. There's a convenient package available in R to use this algorithm. Essentially, the algorithm for every analyzed variable, such as blood pressure, it generates 5 data sets with different possible values for the missing entries based on characteristics of the known data. It then analyzes all of these data sets individually and then combines the results together. So the dependent variable for our study was the presence or absence of inflammatory bowel disease, and that was determined by whether the survey respondent was told they had it by a physician. Independent variables are variables thought to have a bearing on bowel health, so systolic and diastolic blood pressure, BMI, C-reactive protein, good and bad cholesterol, triglycerides, A1C, monthly income, family size, sleep hours, age, and gender. So these are looking at the group. These results are looking at the group with inflammatory bowel disease on the left column there, and without, and seeing how the mean values of these variables differed. So the orange means that the value was greater, the mean value was greater in the group with inflammatory bowel disease, and the blue means it was less. We can see in the group with inflammatory bowel disease, systolic blood pressure was greater, as was BMI, C-reactive protein, HDL cholesterol, triglycerides, A1C, age, and gender. NHANES marks 1 as males and 2 as females. So since this is closer to 2 than 1, this means that there were more females than males in the IBD group. We also used a logistical regression to generate a statistical predictive model. We didn't have too much success with this regarding statistical significance, and this is likely because the group with IBD was pretty small. It made up just over 1% of our total sample size. But nevertheless, the orange variables here are those that were positively predictive of IBD. So that would be CRP, good cholesterol, triglycerides, family size, age, and gender. And the other ones were negatively predictive. Sleep hours was the only variable found to be statistically significant here, with less sleep being predictive of acquiring inflammatory bowel disease. So in conclusion, logistic the logistic regression model positive predictors of IBD were pretty consistent with the differences in means, except for family size, which had a lower mean in the IBD group. Now, however, for the negative predictive values in the regression model, there were a greater number of discrepancies between those and the differences in mean. Sleep hours was the only variable that was statistically significant. Fewer sleep hours could mean that IBD is more likely based on the differences in means. And this could be because of the increased stress response leading to immune dysregulation from chronic lack of sleep. The lack of statistical significance in the other variables, as mentioned, could be due to the sample size. Before multiple imputation occurred, only 62 individuals had IBD, and 5,034 said they had neither. The IBD group had a greater mean systolic blood pressure, BMI, C-reactive protein, triglycerides, A1C, and age, and had more females. And these values here could indicate a state of increased inflammation. The IBD group also had a greater mean HDL, lower mean LDL, and lower mean diastolic blood pressure. Though these differences were small, we found these to be kind of counterintuitive. The IBD group made about $54 a month less than the group without IBD, And though this amount is pretty small, this could mean that they had less access to healthy food and lifestyle options. And finally, the IBD group had a smaller family size. Potentially, this difference could contribute to maybe less social support, worse mental health, and greater stress. Thank you.